Hello everybody and welcome to another Warhammer 3 multiplayer online battle. This is a land battle where I'm playing as the Greenskins, being led by the famous Grimgor Ironhide, notable for being kind of a joke in the competitive sphere, I suppose, sort of a crummy, but you know, he's going to cromp, against Khorne, being led by an exalted bloodthirster. As for my armies, I'm in fact already seeing conflict over here. I've got a couple Goblin Wolf Riders being harried by Chaos Furies of Khorne, and there's some more Chaos Warhounds of Khorne over here. As for my core, I've got a couple Night Goblin Archers and also the weird purple ones. A lot of Black Orcs, including the Crimson Killas, Goblin Rocklobbers, and then 2 units of Orc Boarboy Biggins, and I've even got the Broken Tusk Mob over here to give me some little extra leadership with their Encourage aura. Furies cycling right over my army, and coming over here I have 2 units of Skirmishers, these Forest Goblin Spider Riders, and these Goblin Wolf Archers, both of them the weird purple variant for some more power. And my opponent has Blood Crushers of Khorne, a very heavy metal, very scary, even like robotic cavalry unit here. And for his core, he's got lots of Bloodletters, some Chaos Warriors with Halberds. Yeah, 2 Chaos Warriors with Halberds specifically. And then Minotaurs of Khorne with great weapons. Very angry bulls. Okay, and for my caster, I have an Orc Shaman with the Fist of Gork and the Gaze of Mork. Immediately starting by casting the Bloodthirster. He doesn't really try to dodge, but his flying up and down just sort of naturally avoids most of the damage. My Skirmishers are getting harried by Warhounds over here and by the Blood Crushers over here. And he flies some Furies into my Goblin Rocklobbers, who I pull away and, you know, try to get them out of the way with the Crimson Killas. And thankfully with my Goblins, I'm able to push away these dogs, but he's still flying around with these Furies, still looking for an easy opening. One of my Skirmish units is basically totally killed at this point, thanks to these Blood Crushers and the Furies. We get the Goblin crew back. I immediately, well, eventually I tell them to get back on the catapults. Yeah, and these poor Skirmisher units, these Goblins are not having a good time. This is basically a horrible match for them. The Blood Crushers really do thrive killing anything, even though they're not small infantry-sized units. There's no way these Skirmishers are going to be able to defeat the Blood Crushers, but with some help of the Orc Boarboy Biggins, they just might. Anti-large, armor-piercing, much worse combat stats, but I figured on a charge we should be able to prevail, and yeah, we actually shred this elite, very expensive cavalry unit extremely fast. On a charge, these guys have like 70 melee attack or thereabouts. He's got some Chaos Warhounds, but I'm not really worried about them. They're not Flesh Hounds of Khorne. They're the just like crappy normal Hound unit. Anyway, over here, we're about to confront the main army. His Fury is still fighting. His Bloodthirster jumping right on my Shaman, whipping him, and you know, the Shaman, he's trying his best, but we got Grimgor right nearby with his little beat stick, 94 melee attack, slams into the Bloodthirster, doing a crazy amount of damage. Yeah, just chopping him repeatedly. But you know, the Bloodthirster, he's fighting back. He's trying to kill this Orc Shaman and doing a very good job, very quickly killing. Get a fist of, or a foot, I should say, of Gork, and you know, that did pretty good damage. The Black Orcs are winning here. In this fight, it's, you know, we're not doing great there. Here, the Crimson Killas are fighting Bloodthirsters who they would normally win, but against these Minotaurs as well, they're actually getting kind of crumped pretty hard. My Shaman gets terror routed away, as do the Night Goblin Archers, but it's still just Grimgor versus the Bloodthirster, and this is where he thrives. This is kind of like what he's made to do, is kill these kind of like big, elite, scary characters. And, yeah, unfortunately, the Bloodthirster just manages to fly away. As for over here, we killed those Chaos Warhounds with the Boarboys, so we're sending them, looping them back around, and just getting some skirmishing fire at the Bloodthirster as he runs off. And taking a big overview, some Chaos Warriors with the Halberds are over here. We've got our Rocklobbers online, who are lobbing their rocks maybe a little ineffectually at the Halberds, but you know, they're doing a little bit of damage. The Crimson Killas are dead. They completely died. They didn't do good at all against the Minotaurs. But the Orc Boarboy Biggins against Minotaurs, You know, it'll be okay. They have farmed a little bit of damage. Oh, the Bloodthirster comes back looking to get my Shaman for round 2, but Grimgor is right here, and we sunder him with, I think, the Rusty Arrows, yeah, so bringing his armor down to 60, his leadership's at 27, he's being poked by these arrows, Grimgor's on the hunt, desperate to chomp and kill, and, yeah, the Bloodthirster is just being absolutely ripped apart. But there's still these Chaos Warriors with halberds, and, you know, my frontline infantry, which is very expensive, very elite, is kind of just being killed. We get a very nice rear charge here, though, on those Bloodletters, kind of just killing all of them. The Broken Tusk Mob, though, is losing very decisively against these Minotaurs. The Minotaurs just completely murdering them, and there's still an almost full HP unit of halberds here. My Rock Lobbers doing nothing to defeat them. But I do have a very powerful core. I still have Goblin Archers, who I am throwing into melee because failing to micro properly to hit the halberds. And we got one unit of Orc Boar Boy Biggins, charging them again into Minotaurs. Not a good option. Would definitely not want to do that. Nor the halberds, both of these choices pretty terrible. And he's just running his lord away, which is fine by me. Grimgor's just in here killing these halberdiers. This is perfect for him. He's in his element, basically, chopping up these Khorne worshippers. Yeah, my Black Orcs over here rout. I've got one unit of Black Orcs left. And over here, what is this? Yeah, it's the Broken Tusk Mob who rally back and forth. But, you know, we still got these Minotaurs to deal with. My archer line is being compromised now as the Chosen, or the Halberdiers, run in and are just poking and slashing and cutting. And Black Orcs are good, but it's a little too much for them to deal with. Getting wrapped up here by these Chaos Warhounds, actually pretty good for my opponent, keeping me from rear charging these forces. But we do extinguish those Halberdiers. Basically, Grimgor kind of killed them all personally. And now the Rusty Arrows are being compromised by the Minotaurs. His lord's still just off in the distance, observing the battlefield from afar. No need to get too engaged. We kill the Warhounds, so my Orc Boar Boys are back, but we don't have any infantry. We just have like one Goblin squad, and he has a almost full HP Halberdier unit. His Bloodletters are burning up, and thankfully, because his Halberdiers were sort of trapped on my Black Orcs, his Minotaurs got a little too far up, and now they're sort of on their own, and Grimgor could definitely kill these Minotaurs. He can chop them to pieces, no problem. So without their Halberdier support, the Minotaur is pretty exposed, and they're getting shot to pieces by these goblins right in front of them. Grimgor's just having fun, ripping them to shreds, and I've actually still got a cavalry unit, 2 cavalry units left. And the Bloodthirster is just kind of not really doing much. Yeah, popping Grimgor's buffs for some leadership. But at this point, the Minotaurs are dead, and, you know, we're just, like, rear charging into the Halberds, which is still not, like, an incredible fight. We still have, 5 Black Orcs still in the battlefield. Oh, there's some over there, too. And the Bloodthirster comes back, but it's a little too late to save the day, and the Moon Howlers take this match. So, you know, it was pretty scrappy there, if I do say so myself. Grimgor did great, didn't pay for himself because he really just can't ever. But, you know, he existed, and he was a very vital piece. My Black Orcs did terribly. They were in such a bad matchup, like being ripped to pieces by these Bloodthirsters, who are, you know, expensive troops, but the Black Orcs, I think, are a little more expensive. At least the Crimson Killas are very overpriced for what they did this battle. My Mage, you know, the casts weren't that great. The Orc Boar Boy Biggins, though, these guys were pretty essential. All the mobility they offered. The Skirmishers, they just died. The Night Goblin Archers were great. This thing was a joke, and these guys just kind of died and did nothing. But look at these Minotaurs, 2,500 damage dealt as gold value. Incredible, incredible. Got a silver chevron for how many kills they got. The infantry did good. The Furies and the Warhounds didn't really do enough. That was sort of the problem there. They died a little too early. And probably worst of all, just losing those Blood Crushers. It's an extremely expensive unit. Just dying almost instantly. Not a good thing. I mean, I lost a couple units early too, but these guys aren't, they're like worth nothing. Like 400, 300 gold or something. So wasn't really that big a deal. But it was fun match. Thanks for watching.